Have you ever wanted to do something really bad, but injuries have held you back from it, even though you knew you could still get to that level that you wanted to? Well, this is the same case for Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara was born on July 25th in 1995 in Norcross, Georgia. He's currently 24 years old and is playing in the NFL on the New Orleans Saints. Kamara went to Norcross High School and was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school and got offers from colleges such as Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, and Clemson. All in all, he got college offers from 16 schools and decided to go with Alabama. Kamara redshirted his first year in Alabama due to a knee surgery he had during the preseason of his freshman year, then left for Hutchinson Community College in Kansas. After this, he went to Tennessee and was a running back for 2 years. Tennessee, he racked up 1,294 rushing yards and 683 receiving yards in all. He got 698 rushing yards in his first season and 291 receiving yards in his first season at Tennessee, which was the 2015-16 season, and then got 596 rushing yards and 392 receiving yards in his second season, which was the 2016-17 season. He had an okay college career, right? And after these 2 seasons, he applied for the NFL draft. In the draft, the Saints decided to pick Kamara in the 3rd round, pick number 67. This was the same draft in which Christian McCaffrey, who we'll talk about later in the vid, went to the Carolina Panthers with the 8th overall pick. Kamara was able to rack up 728 rushing yards on 120 attempts, which gave him a league-leading average of 6.1 yards per attempt and 5 receiving touchdowns in his rookie year, which was in 2017. He made the Pro Bowl as well and was able to get the award for the Offensive Rookie of the Year for the 2017-18 season. In his second season, which was the 2018-19 season, Kamara was the first player in NFL history to get 1,000 rushing and receiving yards in their first 20 games in the NFL. And I will be leaving a link below that has all of his records, so make sure to check that out. On top of this record, Kamara was able to get 883 rushing yards, which is the most he has gone in a season so far. He got 14 rushing touchdowns as well, which is the most he has gone in a season so far, again. On the receiving side, he got 81 receptions for 709 receiving yards. He got 4 receiving touchdowns as well and went to the Pro Bowl again. So far, as we can see, Kamara is a great player on both the rushing and receiving side of the ball, and he has made a name for himself so far in his career. But can he have another year like this again? Kind of. In the 2019-20 season, despite Kamara only starting 9 games and playing in 14 games because he had a leg and ankle injury, which caused him to skip his Week 7 and 8 games versus the Vikings and the Rams, he was still able to get 81 receptions for 533 receiving yards, and in the rushing game, he was able to get 709 rushing yards on 171 attempts. And I know this is off topic, but something kind of funny is how Kamara was able to get 81 receptions in each year of his career and has made the Pro Bowl in each of the 3 seasons of his career as well. I mean, like, what are the odds? But back to the video. Now, the big question is, do I think that Alvin Kamara will be the 4th player to get a season with 1,000 rushing and receiving yards? Well, let's take a look at the 3 other players who have gone a season with 1,000 rushing and receiving yards. The first person ever in the history of the NFL to get a season with 1,000 rushing and receiving yards was Roger Craig. Roger Craig accomplished this in his 3rd season in the NFL. In Craig's previous 2 seasons, he got 725 and 649 rushing yards and 427 and 675 receiving yards, so he is a versatile player. Craig at the time was listed as the fullback for the greatest team of all time, the San Francisco 49ers, which makes it just that much more impressive. As we can see from Craig's stats from his previous 2 seasons, he kind of got stats like Kamara, because he can catch and run the ball. Then, in the 1985-86 season, Roger Craig made NFL history as the first player to ever get 1,000 rushing and receiving yards. Craig got 1,050 rushing yards in 16 games on 214 rushing attempts. On the receiving side, Craig caught a league-high 92 receptions and he's a fullback slash running back, so this is insane. And he got an astonishing 1,016 receiving yards. Although Craig was still on the lower side of the thousands, he still had an insane season, no doubt about that, and he went to the Pro Bowl this season. The next player to get 1,000 rushing and receiving yards is Marshall Faulk. I'm not sure if that's how to say his last name. I'm sorry if I butchered that. Marshall got this season in his 6th season as a pro. To save time, I will just go over his previous season in 1998. Faulk got 1,319 yards on 324 attempts, and he got super close to having 1,000 receiving yards with 908. At the time, Faulk was on the Colts. In the following season, though, Faulk went to the St. Louis Rams, now the LA Rams, and he became the second player to ever get 1,000 rushing and receiving yards. And sorry for saying that so much. He got an amazing 1,381 rushing yards on 253 attempts, which gave him a league-leading 5.5 rushing yards per attempt. On the receiving side, he got 87 receptions for 1,048 yards, so he got more rushing and receiving yards than Roger Craig, who, as I talked about previously, got 1,050 rushing yards and 1,016 receiving yards. The last player to get 1,000 rushing yards and receiving yards coming out of Stanford is Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey got this accomplishment in his 3rd year in the league. McCaffrey built a reputation in his previous 2 years as a running back who could catch the ball. In his rookie season in 2017, he got 651 receiving yards with 80 receptions. And in the year after that, he got 867 receiving yards on 116 receptions. And this was the first year he got over 1,000 rushing yards with 1,098. In the 2019-20 season, the season McCaffrey got over 1,000 rushing and receiving yards, he got 1,387 rushing yards on 287 rushing attempts, and this gives him 6 more rushing yards than Marshall Faulk, who got 1,381 rushing yards. He also got 337 rushing yards more than Roger Craig, who got 1,050. Christian McCaffrey got 116 receptions for 1,005 receiving yards, and he got 43 less receiving yards than Faulk, who got 1,048, and 11 less receiving yards than Roger Craig, who got 1,016 receiving yards. McCaffrey got a league-leading 2,392 yards from scrimmage in his 1,000 season. So do I think that Kamara can get his 1,000 rushing and receiving yards? Yes. If Drew Brees can be the Drew Brees that we all know, then I do think that will just boost Kamara's chances of getting 1,000 receiving yards. Although the Saints do have some really good weapons, such as Michael Thomas, Jared Cook, and Emmanuel Sanders, which won't help Kamara in getting 1,000 receiving yards, I still think that Kamara might be able to get 1,000 rushing and receiving yards sometimes in the future. If Kamara goes to a different team, though, I think that he might have an even higher chance of getting the amazing season, because there are not many teams that having a receiving core like the Saints, and there are not too many teams on where Kamara won't be the number 1 running back. So does Alvin Kamara have the potential to get a 1,000 season? Yes, absolutely. Although I do think that he might have to work a bit harder, I think that he will be able to get it, and I think that he will be a great running back for a long, long time. There are 2 things that I forgot to mention while making this video. And by the way, if you made it this far in the video, you are a legend. So the first thing that I forgot to mention was that all of the stats I found were from Pro Football Reference. And the second thing I forgot to mention was that this video was inspired by Funlo Raps. He does videos just like talking about stories about other football players. So yeah, I will be leaving his link down in the description below. And thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.